Alright, what's up everybody? So I'm back for another strategy video. I wanted to just talk about the strategy that I have been using for the past year and a half now, and how it has been working for me, my success with it, and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of wanted to share that with you guys so you guys can maybe introduce it within your trading and potentially be successful with it. So, getting into it real quick, one thing I'll say, it's a very simple strategy that you just have to have literally like 2 to 3 confluences, and then that's it. So the main thing is finding out your daily bias for the day. So coming into the day and understanding where price really wants to go for the day. So now coming into this, looking at London session and Asia session, we could see that during Asia session we made a move down, and then once London opened, we kind of swept all of the liquidity that we created during Asia and made a move up. Now, what that tells me right now is that there's a chance that price will most likely want to retrace back into this area right here since it's an imbalance. And what that means for me is that I would want to take shorts into this area once market opens. So what I want to see most likely is a sweep of London session highs right here. So what I want to see basically is this. So I want to see a sweep of London session highs. So sweeping this high right here. All right. And then also sweeping, any sort of previous liquidity that's also sitting over there. So you can see right here that we have previous week high right here and then another high right here. But you can see that we swept all of this during London session. Let's go back onto the 1 minute time frame. And then what I want to see is some point of distribution. So some point that will tell me like, hey, I should take shorts, because if I don't, it's going to run without me. So what I want to see is either an inverse fair value gap or in a 1 to 5 minute fair value gap. All right, so it's super simple. And now let's take a look what's going to happen. So market opens, New York opens. What I want to see, like I said, is going to be the sweep of London session highs right here. And look, I can even take you to the hourly time frame. Uh, don't mind this candle right here because that's already in New York. But basically, this fair value gap right here that has been created during London session, just how we were talking about, I want to see it retrace back into it. Okay, so the entire draw on liquidity is this right here, this box. Okay, so let me mark out market open just for you guys. All right, so well, like I said, I want to see a London session high sweep. So what do we see? Great, London high. Like I said, I want to see a sweep of that. Bang. Now, what have we just created? We created a bullish fair value gap. Now, I don't want to take longs. All right, some people are going to see this and be like, oh, we are going bullish because, we're making a move higher and then we got a bullish fair value gap. No, since we swept London session highs, it gives us a different sense of direction of where price wants to go. All right, there's a shit ton of liquidity sitting above London session, all these different sessions, that it's just like, if it sweeps it, I want to say 7 times out of 10, you will have a reversal. You will see price make a move down instead of continuing higher. So what do I see now is I see this inverse fair value gap that we created. So what I'm going to want to see is it close. So the next few candles, I want to see it close below this inverse right here, and that I will take shorts off of. Okay, so we kind of just chop around for a little bit. Bang. So now what do we see? We close below this inverse right here. This is a perfect sign for me to take shorts. Now, I'm going to show you guys my exact trade that I took. I took it literally like right at the top of this candle right here. I put my stop loss above these highs, and I was targeting the fair value gap right here. I'll even pop up the trade on the screen for you guys just to prove to you guys that I did actually take that trade. And let's see what happens with this. Bang. What do we see all the time? It's literally just a London session sweep. So it could be a London session high or a London session low. A fair value gap, and combined with other draws on liquidity. So in this case, it was this 1 hour bullish fair value gap. Now, after this, I'm done. I took my one trade and I'm done for the day. I don't really care what else happens for the day. Now, some people might want to take other trades because they see, we got a bullish fair value gap. We might want to take longs. But, you know, we just kind of chop around for the entire day. And honestly, that's why I love taking trades right when market opens, and then I'm done for the day. This was already, I took TP hit before 9 a.m. I made my money before 9 a.m. All right, I'm done. I closed my computer and I did whatever I wanted to do. I went for a run, went to the grocery store, make some breakfast and stuff like that. That's it. I don't have anything else to do on the charts besides journal and make a video talking about it, because that's it. That's all I have to do. It's just a London session sweep, a fair value gap or an inverse, and targeting a draw on liquidity. That's it. I'm going to show you guys the other trades that I took the other day as well. Let's go back to Tuesday, or what was this? Tuesday, yeah. So there's another perfect example. All right, we sweep London session low. So obviously we could see that Asia session made a very big move up. Already that's telling me that we're gonna want to see a bullish continuation, because hey, we made such a big move up. I want to see a retracement lower into this imbalance right here, because this is an hourly imbalance right here. I want to see a retracement back into here. All right, now what I want to see is some sort of manipulation. So we were talking is that liquidity sweep on London session or even Asia session. Even if it came down to these lows right here, I wouldn't mind, because that's just more liquidity, more confidence for me to continue higher. But we ended up just sweeping London session, and like we talked about, there's so much liquidity during London session. All right, London session opened up, or I'm sorry, New York session opened up, swept these lows. What do? We made a inverse fair value gap to the downside, so a bearish fair value gap, and we ended up inversing and also retracing back into it. What did I do? Took longs, stopped below the lows, and I targeted London session highs. What do you see? A absolute bull run to the upside. I could have held this for even longer, targeting who knows how much liquidity. Oh my god, why is my shit lagging so hard? Anyway, that's just a good example of it. Those are two perfect examples of it. And you can find this every single, almost, excuse me, almost every single day. You'll see setups like this. All right. Here's another perfect example on Monday. I didn't even trade on Monday because it was a bank holiday. All right. What do we see? London session sweep. New York opens. We sweep London session. We're going to have our draw on liquidity all the way down here for London low. All right. Sweep. We got the manipulation leg. There isn't really like a decent entry. I guess if you got this as an inverse right here, this inverse fair value gap, if we close down here, you know, we retrace back into this fair value gap, you wanted to take shorts, that's probably another good example of it. I personally just didn't trade because it's a Monday and it was a bank holiday. I didn't think there was going to be too much liquidity, but I don't know if I actually having a decent amount. But this is just another good example, all right? Let's take a look at Friday. All right, is this Friday? This is Friday. All right, so we didn't really see this setup, but I did end up taking this trade right here. Only because I knew my draw on liquidity was going to be this fair value gap right here. So what did I do? We never ended up seeing a sweep of liquidity. This is kind of just going off track of the, I just dropped my pen. This is kind of going off track of the strategy that I do, but it is a very similar strategy that I do since it works. All right, draw on liquidity, knowing where price wants to go. Okay, so we see we made a nice move up, retracement back into these fair value gaps that we created, targeted this hourly, or as a 15-minute fair value gap, bang, and I was done. I was actually taking this trade in the car. If you watch my video from yesterday that I posted that video. I was literally in the car taking that trade. Let's find another good example. Okay, this is kind of later in the day, but what do we see is a London session or Asia session sweep. Okay, so we also sweep a bunch of liquidity from before in the past, and what do? We make a very nice move down. All right, let's find another example for you guys. I don't know why it's so laggy. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Obviously, you got to combine it with your own strategy and kind of how you trade and all that kind of stuff. Personally, this is just a strategy that I found works the best on, you know, like A plus setups. Those for me, like the strategies or like the trades that I was just showing you guys, those for me are the A plus setups that I look for almost every single day. Obviously, there are going to be certain trades where you don't see the London session sweep. Like for example, this trade that I took on Friday, I didn't see a London session sweep. However, I knew what my draw on liquidity was. So I wanted to see a retracement back into it, and all I'm doing is literally just riding along with the market makers and trying to see where they want to put their take profit and their stop loss and understand where price wants to go. Okay. All right, this is another example. This is kind of a similar setup that I use. However, it's not really the setup that I use all the time, but this is a continuation trade for me. All right, I call this a continuation. So we see that we made a bullish imbalance right here, probably like an hourly bullish imbalance right here. We retraced back into it during London or New York session right when we opened. We made a bearish fair value gap. What is that to me? That is an inverse fair value gap right there. All right. If we close above, so we can see that we closed right at this candle. We closed above the fair value gap right here. What do? Take longs, target any point of liquidity. I'd probably target this high right here, all the way down here. You can see that works out very, very nicely for us. Bang. That's it. All right. That's all you need. It's very simple strategies. It's just like I feel like people add too much shit to their strategies. And then here's another good example. All right. Continuation. This is another good example of the continuation that I was just talking about. Move up, retracement back down into it. We made an impulsive move up. You know, if you wanted to catch long while the impulse is moving, that was actually the trade I took on Wednesday. Or, you know, if you wanted to wait for a retracement, continue higher, bang. Understanding where drawn liquidity is. I want you guys to backtest some of these things that I talked about today, and know where your drawn liquidity is, because that's probably the most important thing when it comes to trading, is understanding where your drawn liquidity is. Where does price want to go to? Where do market makers have their orders placed and ready to be filled? Where do market makers have their stop losses and all that kind of stuff? You guys have to understand that when it comes to trading. It's not just fair value gaps, liquidity sweeps, and all that kind of stuff. There's so much more that goes into it. But you got to dial it down to what you like and how you want to trade it. This is just the way I trade it. You don't have to do it the way I do. However, if you want to switch it up and do the way I do it, that's not a problem. Obviously, you got to backtest it. You got to understand how it works and all that kind of stuff. But that's all I really have for you guys today. If you want to join my Discord, the link is in the description of this video. You're going to see all of my trades that I take, every single one of them. Yeah, you could trade with me. I do free one-on-one mentorship calls. I do anything you could think of, all completely for free. I do live trading, trade callouts, all that kind of stuff, all completely for free. So the link is in the description of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and kind of learned something new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.